Good morning. Good morning. I hope you guys are having a blessed day so far. Um, what was I gonna do? I wonder. I don't know what'll happen if I click out. So I'm gonna leave that alone. Good morning. Good morning. If you guys could say hello when you pop in, that would be wonderful. I'm not sure how many I'm gonna have this morning because you guys may not be used to me being here and so early at that. But today is our Mixed Media Monday, and we'll be meeting here every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, you guys. So that's like 10 o'clock here in Arizona. I believe it's 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Eastern. Um, and yes, it's early for my Californians. I'm sorry. But I know that Lynn is on Mondays in a couple of hours, and I didn't want to bump up against hers. And I got to get the baby to school, all the things. Not today because it's President's Day, but generally speaking, all the things. So, Mixed Media Monday, you guys, we are going to meet here every Monday and we are going to play a game. And I want you guys to know that this is as much an exercise for me as it is for you. Good morning, Karen. How are you this morning? Look at I I I stole my little finger from my mic last night. I'm surprised David didn't ask me for that. Um, this is much of a challenge for me as it is for you guys, or maybe it's not a challenge for you at all. So this is the game. I have a mixed media mashup. It looks kind of like a bingo game, but you take your tongue suppressor and you're going to take one of the categories and put on the top, and then you're going to take one of the challenges and put on the bottom. So you guys can see I have multiple categories here and multiple challenges. And all of these are just sitting here. And I need to get a little bit of a bigger can. In fact, they're sitting here in my cans. And so for me, I'm going to be pulling 4 every day. I really want to challenge myself. If you're nervous about doing it, not that anybody's going to ask you to like take a test or anything, this is completely for you. You guys decide how many you want to pull. You can pull 1, you can pull 2, 3, 4, you can pull 10. It is completely up to you. There is no judgment here. I am tired. I am operating on 3 hours of sleep. Good morning, Karen. So, if I get a little loopy, I apologize ahead of time because I cannot say that that is not going to happen. One of the things I was up doing last night, let me put up the QR code, and I was going to try to get a link, but I'm afraid if I leave, that I might lose the feed. Let me see. I don't know if that's true. I think I'll be live still. Let me go back and get the link for you guys. Oh man, it wants me to sign in. Never mind. Um, I will post Criminies here. I have the QR code for the game, so you guys can download the game and get it yourself. Um, and here's a QR code for the Mixed Media Mashup game. So if you would like to play with me every morning, you can just point your camera at this QR code. There'll be a little yellow bar that pops up, and if you click that, it'll take you to the page where you can sign up to receive the game. And there are 2 pages. And again, how you put your game together is completely up to you. So there is no judgment. And the purpose of this is not to make perfect projects. It really is about stretching our muscles, our creative muscles, and challenging ourselves to do things differently than we normally do, because that is where our creativity grows. And so this is like a lab, if you will, a laboratory for us to come and to play and see what happens. And so I pulled out a couple of things. I pulled out the recycled paintable botanicals. This is one of the new recycled designs. Um, let me see. I do have a thumbnail of this one. So this is what the paper looks like in its totality. But of course, you guys know that they're 29 inches by 21 inches. So it's a large sheet. And so what I'm going to do every morning is I'll just choose, hey, Tara, how are you? I'm just going to choose the surface I'm going to work on, and I am going to pull a recycled decoupage paper I'd like to work with. And other than that, I haven't made any other decisions. I did cheat. I pulled out a piece of the music masterboard, music note masterboard sheet, because I'm thinking that might be a nice background, but I don't know. So this is all I pulled out. And the surface I've chosen today is my upcycled book, just a normal book, and I decoupage the cover. I believe this is the pressed flower masterboard decoupage paper from last spring. Um, and you guys can kind of get a look at my craziness. So using a book like this isn't like perfect, but for what I use it for, it's fine. This is where I experiment. This is something, I think this is my practice that I did, and then we did this finish together inside the Roy Cycles Besties group last year. But I am experimenting with different processes and different things inside of here. Oh wow, that's come a long way, right? And that's another reason why I like this book too, is because I can see like how far I've come in my creative journey when I'm able to look back. Oh, that's a background. That'll be cool for something one day when I'm able to look back and see what I've done. And so inside of my journals, you guys, I do a lot of experimentation, and I find out what works, what doesn't work. There's like no judgment in here, like being lazy about cutting out your flower and then putting it on a dark background. That was not. Um, and I actually colored this one with pencils. That was fun. So I digress. So inside of here is where I experiment. And then I get to come to you guys looking like I know what I'm doing. But it doesn't always turn out well. Sometimes it's a hot mess. Ooh, good. This page is already gessoed. Marvelous. And you guys see I have like pieces of tissue in between here. And that's because sometimes my pages stick together when I try to close them too soon after, you know, getting my gesso down. So I'll stick a piece of tissue in between the pages to kind of keep that from happening. But, oh, I forgot about that one. That was fun. Oh, yeah, we did this together, didn't we? Anyways, I digress. I have a spread right here, so we can work on this morning. So I'm going to pull my 3 sticks. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Tina. How are you this morning? Um, who has flood warnings, Chris? You know what? If you're talking about me in Arizona, flash flood warnings are normal for us. Like the desert isn't used to the rain in southern Arizona. So when we get rain, it doesn't take long before the ground can absorb anymore, and then we get a lot of runoff, and we have washes everywhere. So um, we're used to flash flooding, unless there's flooding somewhere else. So I am closing my eyes. You guys can see me, and I'm going to pull out 4 sticks. I'm going to try to pull out different colors. If I pull out the same color, I may replace it with a different stick, but I'm trying to pull from different parts of my can. So let's see. Did I get the same color anywhere? Ooh, nicely done. Okay. So, I do have some DIY tape. So this one is an underpainting, and it says paint in bright colors. That should be fun. That's going to change what I want to do, but that's okay. So I'm going to paint underneath. So underpainting is what I'm going to do under my paper, not on top. Good morning, April. So I'm going to paint bright colors underneath my decoupage paper. And then it says use a paintable transfer. That should be fun. I may have to locate a paintable transfer, but I'll get one and we'll do that. DIY. So DIY are things that I've made. DIY tape. And I do have some DIY tape from the retreat, actually, from cleaning you guys' gel plates. And then collage, and it says mark making. So that should be fun. So these are my 4 sticks, and I have to incorporate these in my project some kind of way. And again, you guys can get this game. And I want to encourage you guys to play along with me. Pull your own sticks. But maybe this can be like a co-working space for us where we can like play together. Things I'm probably going to use. I bought these from Tammy at, oh, she's going to kill me. I keep forgetting her business name. Something, something with Tammy. I'll remember in a few minutes. But there are like little sayings on here. And so the one that we did together, what do we do together? Oh, I'll show you guys. Hold on one second. Remember, I have to remember to put my mic on. So last Sunday we did this, and this is just an old file divider, but I saw someone make a little book out of this. So that's what I'm going to do. But anyways, after we off, I did put this on. It says today is full of possibilities, and so the adventure begins. That's what I ended up putting on this one that we did together last Sunday. And this will ultimately become a cover of a little book. So I have this, and we might do that part together. I am not an expert at making signatures, but I figured it would be fun for you guys to watch me muddle through to do that. But that's for another day. So let's get started with our underpainting this morning, since I have to paint under my decoupage paper. And I do want to kind of decide on colors. Let's see, what am I doing? Really the underpainting is the only thing that's color specific. So I'm going to do my favorite colors that I like to work with. You guys know I love my teal and ochre. I have a little, this ochre is pretty transparent, but it's okay. We're going to work, we're going to make it work. And I said bright colors, didn't I? Lord have mercy. Why did I pull bright colors this morning? Okay, I'll do some bright yellow. Hey, Tina. Right, Tina? This is a really fun way to experiment. And like you guys know, that bright colors is not exactly my jam. So I'm already being challenged this morning. Oh, okay, it wasn't me. Okay, it was you, Flea. I'm sorry. So I have some yellow here, and I already have like that blue. So I won't put a different blue down. You know what? Let's put a little bit of orange. That should be fun. This is a new paint too. I haven't used this yet, so. And I think that's enough color. Those are pretty bright, right? Can you guys see those? I hope so. So let's start with those. And I think I'm gonna mist my page and try to get them to disperse. Almost like a watercolor. Good morning, Kathy. So I'm gonna mist, and see if I can get these. Oh man, I didn't bring out any of my brushes. So we're gonna make it work. Let's start off with my favorite color, and I'm just gonna like put it in random places because I don't know what's gonna happen over the top. I mean, I don't have any specific plans for the top, so I'm just gonna put random colors down. Is anybody working with me this morning? I'm just curious. I know you guys don't have a game yet, but maybe you came with your art journal ready to work. Chris, you're an expert at muddling. That is what I do. But that is where the fun stuff happens, though. I think I'm going to try to put the yellow. Oh, Lord, I mixed the orange in there a little bit. In the middle. And, oh, you guys know what I should have done? Oh, I wish I would have thought about it. I could have put my colors on a piece of plastic and then laid that on here. That would have been way more fun. But it's okay. This is good. So I'm going to start off. Lord have mercy for Jesus. This is not what I saw in my head for my project already, you guys. I'm already in trouble. You in danger, girl. I'm already in danger this morning. Hey, Linda. Oh, thank you. Ah, man, I picked up all the color. What the what? Okay, let's try it again. And let's do my idea this time, though. Let me find a piece of plastic, a good piece. So to do this, I like to use a kind of stiffer kind of plastic that comes with like packaging or something. You can use like a saran wrap, but actually the saran wrap is better if you actually leave it on until everything is dry, then pull it off. That's a really cool texture. But this is just going to be, it's going to allow me to create something really organic, really easy. So I'm going to have to give up complete control for this one. So I'm going to mist my plastic. Y'all, I'm legitimately 3 hours of sleep, and something weird happened to me this morning. We were having a conversation in the Besties membership group about what we see when we close our eyes. And, we were talking about how we see swirlies and colors. I saw black this morning when I woke up, y'all. Like, what the what? I don't know. Oops. Oh, I guess. So I'm being mindful because see what happened? My green got muddy because I got orange in it, right? Red and green on opposite sides of the color wheel. So when you're doing a project like this, you may get frustrated because you end up with muddy colors, but you see how red and green are on opposite sides of the color wheel? And orange is right here next to red. So when that green and orange mixed up, it got muddy. And I don't want that. So I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. So if you're mixing your colors and you get frustrated because you're getting mud, it's probably because you're mixing complements. So don't do that. We're going to get all the complements on here, but we're going to make sure that they stay in their own lanes. We don't want them mixing together. Not a lot. So yellow, orange, and blue, right? Those are our colors. Let's get a little bit more yellow on there. I guess I had blue in my yellow. So blue and yellow are fine, right? Because I'm just going to get green. But if I get orange in my blue, that's when we have problems. So I'm going to mist this so my colors kind of get loose. Get loose, get loose. And then I'm going to just like stamp this onto my page and see if we can get something that looks organic. And I could drag it, but if I drag it, I might end up with mud because my blue would just end up mixing with my orange. So I'm just gonna like let it chill and let those colors kind of spread out a little bit. And then rather than trying to mop them up, I'll just dry them. Ooh, that's a lot prettier than what I had before. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just see what happens if I stamp this. Now I stamped this one on a wet page and I put this one on a dry page. Let's see if there's any difference in the result. I guess it spread a little bit more on the wet page as opposed to the dry page, but neither are bad though, right? So two different, just a way for me to get color on the page. I'm going to go ahead and dry this. You can see where my complements are mixing on the side and I'm getting a little bit of muddiness, but not much. If you want to avoid that altogether, just don't put any complements on yours. So I could have done like a yellow, orange, and red, and I wouldn't have to worry about getting mud at all. But you guys know I like to be complicated. What the what? I'm trying to reply to you and it's telling me content isn't available anymore. Oh, wow. I hope it's available. Ken came in and was talking to me. You guys, I'm assuming you guys are visiting with each other, which is fine, by the way. Oh, those pages are kind of stuck together. We're going to leave them like that because if I try to separate those, I'm going to have problems. So I'm going to dry this really quickly. And then So for those of you who popped in late, we are playing the mixed media mashup game. And I pulled 4 sticks this morning. And one of my sticks, my paint stick, my instruction was to paint bright colors under. So my underpainting was use bright colors. So that's why I am against my will starting with these bright colors as an underpainting under my decoupage paper. I'm saying against my will. I'm being a bit of a dork, but sort of, but not really, but sort of. And I know that I want to use the paintable blooms or the paint, oh Lord, have mercy for Jesus. Y'all help me. The paintable botanical decoupage paper. I know I want to use that this morning. So that's actually going to be really pretty. If I do this one, I don't know if I want to use that one though. I'm thinking maybe I'll go with this one this morning because I'm probably going to paint out a lot of the background on this one. So those of you who hate when I do that, I'm just going to ask you to look away today because that is what we're going to do. And so I'll use the one with the less interesting things around it. I'm going to lose some of my butterfly, but sorry, butterfly, we may have to sacrifice you. I apologize for my sniffles. David and I have been not under the weather, just, I don't know. The grandbaby dropped some germs off last week and then he went home and they went to California to Universal Studios and left us here with the germs. And they made it home safely last night. So I get to hear about his adventures. So I'm going to go ahead and decoupage this. I'm actually really excited about this because we talk a lot about transparency. I'm going to put you guys a little bit closer, okay? Yes, I'll put the QR code back up to where you guys can get the game in just a second. See, now I'm going to make sure I don't put my paper in my paint. So if you would like to play the mashup, I'm going to put the QR code up here. I am so sorry, you guys. Excuse me. This is a mixed media mashup game. You guys can download it. That way you can make your own sticks. I used some 8-inch tongue depressors to make mine. I believe there are some tongue depressors at Dollar Tree, but I think they're 6-inch, but they'll work just fine. And you can use that so that you can play your own game. That way when you guys come to join me, you can play too. Thank you, thank you. I know. I haven't been sneezing all morning. You guys know that, right? But right now, I'm actually going to mute you guys for just a second so I can blow my nose, okay? Give me 1 second. I know that look like Rudolph right now because it's been like 5 days of this madness. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, 5 days. 5 days. 6 if you count Wednesday. So, anyways, when I put this down, this is going to be really transparent, right? And so I'm actually going to grab some gloss. So I want to maximize the transparency of this paper because I'm excited about all those colors showing through my flowers here. And it's going to be a lot of different colors, right? Super fun. So I'm going to make my paper as transparent as possible, which means I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to mist my paper. You know how sometimes when you mist your paper, some of it's white, some of it's clear. When I mist this, I'm going to ensure that it's all like clear. I'm going to put my medium down and then I'm going to go over the top right away with my medium. And I'm also going to use a gloss medium rather than using a matte medium. The matte medium has little particulates in it, and that's what makes it your surface matte when you use it. But it can also make this look a little bit more cloudy, and I'm really wanting the clarity from this. So let me grab that gloss decoupage medium. Oh, I do have a paintable transfer right here. How fortuitous. That's matte. Ultra matte. Oh, no, that's the primer. What did I do with it? Oh, I see it. I got too many stuff over here. Okay, so I'm going to be using, this is just Pent Arts Decoupage and Varnish Glue. And I'm using it because it's a glossy, but you can use whatever you have. You guys know that I'll use, like, sometimes I'll use a matte medium. And if this were gloss and not matte, I would just be using this morning. Even if you have like a water-based varnish or a sealer or top coat, you can use that to both adhere your paper and decoupage your paper. Hey, Elizabeth, how are you? Oh, interesting. I don't know. Um, hey, Michelle. So I'm gonna mist my paper so that it can be like completely transparent, and then we're gonna adhere it and go right over the top with our gloss medium. You guys, if you want like an organized, concise set of instructions to level up your decoupage, because there are a lot of little tips and tricks that when you learn them, they help you make decisions about how you're gonna um, approach each of your projects. I do have my Decoupage with Confidence course that's available at recycledacademy.com. You guys can check it out. There's a lot of instruction on there, and it really will, especially if you're new to decoupage. I start off with the basics, how to get your decoupage down wrinkle free, and then we go into I don't know, some more advanced ways that you can use the exact same paper to get different results. So I've misted my paper. You guys see, you can see the color right underneath there. And I am going to let that rest. I'm not going to pick my paper up right away and lay it down. It's expanding over there. It's doing its thing. It's all good. And I am going to decoupage. I'm going to adhere this to my page right over all of this color. And actually, it's going to be fun. I was scared for a second, but now I'm excited. Oh, yeah, chapstick works really good for my Rudolph nose. I told David last night, I am not picking my nose. It's just peeling at this point. And you guys know, in my younger days, I swear I got sick like once a year. And I am not even exaggerating. Um, and so when I would get sick, I would just be a mess because I just wasn't used to it. And now I feel like, although it's the grandkids, that's what it is. I remember I used to teach Awanas in church, and my first year, like my staff were really concerned. They're like, Royce, your immune system is really struggling. Like you've been sick so much. And then the leader of the ministry was like, girl, it's the kids with all their lovely germs. One year for Christmas, we made cupcakes. We made the cupcakes, and the kids got to decorate them, and they were like a happy birthday. We had a happy birthday party for Jesus. And this little girl, she's like 2 years old, not even in my class, because I can't deal with the little people. I had the fifth and sixth graders in my class. And she's like, here, Miss Royce, I made this for you. And you can just, y'all know I had no business eating that cupcake. I knew I was going to have to pay for it later. But did I eat the cupcake? Yes. Yes. I ate the cupcake. And I did indeed pay for it later. Jeremy children. Okay. So you guys see how clear that paper is? Now we're going to dry it and it's going to get a little bit more opaque, but not much. It's going to stay pretty transparent. So this color is pretty fun underneath here. Now, if I was not playing this game and I was planning a little bit more, I would probably have been more strategic with my color placement. But you know what? We are going to roll with it. And look, I got to keep the most of my butterfly. And I could have done both sides, huh? But we'll stick to one side so I can get done in a decent time. Thank you, Linda. So Elizabeth, I'm on Facebook because I can see other people have found me on Facebook. I know when I pre-schedule a class, because I use StreamYard, sometimes Facebook like doesn't put it on my feed, which I really don't appreciate. It goes to like some other place, but I am indeed there, hopefully. Oh, these colors are so pretty. Now, if I'd have been thinking in advance, I would have probably, if I would have just done the red, the orange, and the yellow, like think about how pretty that would have been. That would have been a lot easier to navigate than the blue, but it's okay. We are going to work with it. And I have some of my membership ladies here, and they're gonna be fussing at me over the through the screen when I do my next step, but it is okay. So I did my painting bright colors underneath, and for collage, I need to do some mark making. That's easy. We'll do that later. The DIY tape, we'll do that later. Paintable transfer. I feel like we should put the paintable transfer on now before we move forward to our next step. Maybe, maybe not. I'm going to go ahead and paint out what I don't want to keep. Um, and then we'll put the paintable transfer in the white spot. So I am going to sacrifice my butterfly in order to make room. Well, we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. Let's choose a paintable transfer before we make a final decision. I just came on, girl. You haven't missed anything. And I'll talk about the game again. If you guys want the game that I'm using, this is my mixed media mashup. It's actually 2 pages, and you guys can have this too. I've made this. It's the exact same thing that I'm using, and I'm just cutting the pieces and putting them on popsicles. So the categories are on top, right? And so that's what's on the top of my sticks, and they're color coded. And then the challenges are the square on the bottom, and you cut out each square and you glue it to your stick. I use Yoo-hoo, I don't know how you're supposed to say that, glue stick to glue mine on, but you guys can do whatever works for you. And it took me about 30 minutes in front of the TV to make all of these. But like once it's done, and you don't have to do it again. So it's kind of tedious, but it's going to be a really fun tool that you can use for a long time. Okay, I will put up a QR code again where you can find it in just a few minutes. So I'm going to trim this. I should put a piece of tissue or paper between these pages, or a piece of something. I think I'm okay though. So I don't want to ruin this page. And so I'm going to go ahead and just trim this extra paper off really quickly. And then I am going to decide what I'm going to keep and what I'm going to paint out. Now, I know that I have quite a few of my membership members here. I see y'all, and I hear you. They hate when I do this. But this is the thing. Reverse painting can be a very powerful tool that you can use in your creating. And so sometimes it's about letting go. And so we are going to let go of some of this in order to highlight the things that we want to keep. Kind of like you and your craft supplies right now, Fleet. I'm going to leave the butterfly for now. Let's choose let's see. This is a paintable transfer that I have right here on hand. So this is what we're going to use. And it may be that I just use some of this trim. Oh, Lord. I had some leaves in there. Look, you guys, I save everything. I'm a little ridiculous. I like that script. I might keep that out too to use that in a few minutes. So this is what I have. And I know that, well, let me look. The spirit of the challenge is that I use a paintable transfer to paint. And so if I just use the border, that's kind of cheating. So let me see if these flowers are so big compared to, I could paint the border. Do I have another paintable transfer? I feel like all the paintable transfers are larger. There used to be one that was my favorite. I loved using it in workshops. It had like four different, um, like completely different set pieces of art. And this is not technically a paintable transfer, but for our purposes today, we can certainly use it as one. I do want to take time to point this out. The reason why we can paint this is because all of our values are already there, right? The highlights are there, your really deep shadows are there, your mid-tones are there. So you could really go over this with any transparent color and you could make these roses any color you want. My issue is the scale of all of these is so much larger than my project. But in the spirit of the challenge, I'm going to have to give up the butterfly, y'all. I'm sorry. I got to do it. I wish there was a butterfly on here, but there is not. There's not. Ugh, and even if I had other pieces, like if I would have preferred to have these little top pieces here, or even this piece right here would be more appropriate. I'll be right back. I'm going to look over here. I have more. Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny. Let it go. Let it go. My mic is like sticking to my pants. Oh. Okay. We're going to have a make it work moment. And somebody's thinking, why aren't you prepared? Well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I legitimately am not cheating, you guys. I do not know what I'm going to do until I pull these dang sticks. And I have to follow the instructions that I'm given. I do have some really tiny flowers there, but that almost feels like cheating. The butterfly is going to have to go. So we're going to have to make space because everything on here is larger. Unless I use a little bitty piece, like this little one right here. Let's see. So my challenge the thing that's challenging me right now is scale. These, the paintable transfer is so much larger than the project that we're working on. And so even if I were to choose one of the bigger flowers, it would just look weird on here, right? Because it's going to be so much larger than everything else. So I am just going to cut out this small flower. And I think I'm going to keep a little bit of that design, maybe. We're going to see if it works. And if it doesn't work, we'll just use the flower. And sometimes when you're doing the challenge, you just have to, do the challenge. It might not be within the spirit of the challenge necessarily, because this isn't going to be like a main part. Because I got my little bug right there. I kind of like him. So I'm going to take this off. And all I'm going to use in paintable transfer is just this little sprig right here. So I'm going to go ahead, which means I get to save the butterfly. Good news, the butterfly stays. Megan from Pintart sent me like an enormous box of stuff, you guys. And so I guess Pintart has some acrylic paints, creamy acrylics, and this one is white and it's a matte. So let's check it out and see if I like it. I so apologize for my sniffles. I just cannot even help it. Give me 1 second because I'm about to start sneezing. I'm one of those crazy people. Like I have to choose. Either I'm going to be awake or alert. I'm going to take medicine. I cannot do both. So I get to be miserable all day while I'm working and then take meds and fall out at night. So I'm going to set that aside. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint out. Like this is a lot of color and it's pretty, but I feel like it's too much. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to paint, like I'm going to get rid of this. Not get rid of it, but we're going to get rid of it basically. And I'm going to start with white. I may go back in with another color, but for right now, I'm just going to paint it white. And this will also give me an opportunity to really see what it's going to look like and make a decision about what I want to do with my flowers. My ears are ringing so bad. I'm sorry. I'm whining this morning. I apologize, you guys. And this paint is nice. It's like a semi transparent white. So it's not completely opaque, but it's not transparent. So it's kind of in between, which I know you guys would appreciate because you guys want to keep the background. But I really do want to black this, not black it out, but I want to get rid of my background completely. So I am going to find my other white. And this white is beautiful, especially for those of you who love your backgrounds. This will be a nice way to kind of push them back a little bit, but still be able to see them. Oh my gosh. I know, Karen, right? These colors are really pretty. And it's completely fortuitous because we did not plan that, right? We just laid down random colors and they showed up. But because our paper has the option of being transparent, we can take advantage of underpainting our paper. So you guys have seen me a lot of times. I'm holding my brush like this because it's like wanting to come apart. So I have to leave your brushes in a jar for like a week. You guys have seen me do my halo where I do something grungy underneath or, um, you know, make it dark around the edges. But this is not that. And so you guys know that if I had my choice, that's what I would have done. But because I'm playing the game, I was pushed outside of my norm and I ended up painting bright colors underneath, which we love because it's pretty. And somebody's thinking, is she really going to paint between all those flowers? I am. It's not that bad. And honestly, if you're working by yourself, and some things, there's music notes showing through and numbers. I'll leave some things showing through, but the area right around the flower, I really do want it to disappear. Oh, I meant to bring my paintbrushes out and I did not. Let me try it. And you know it's so funny because some people like the round edged brushes, but I really prefer the square brushes. Even when I'm doing portraits, I use the square brushes most of the time, which is crazy because faces are not square, but I like them. And the reason I'm doing this is because I've done projects with the reverse, like painting out the background, and you guys always yell at me, but I do want to show you guys the power of doing that and kind of what you get in exchange. Hey, Sylvia, how are you? And you can leave parts, like there'll still be music notes showing out there, but anything that's close to my subject, I'm going to decimate. Just giving you guys fair warning. But once I get out past my subject, then I can kind of blend my white out and let it be a little bit softer. But if everything is colorful, then nothing stands out. It all just looks the same. This is not what I saw myself doing today. Can I just say that? And it's kind of okay if you paint over the edge of some of your flowers, especially if they're in the back, right? Like this is in the front and these are in the back. So if the edges of these are a little softer because the paint goes over, it's kind of okay because it actually integrates it into the background better and it'll make it read like it's a little further away if your edges are not as sharp. And I'm not just saying that because I don't want to paint them all perfectly because they're tiny. That's real information, I promise. Although I did just remind myself of that because I don't want to paint all these all super careful. If you're on, and you guys know what, if you're new, I'm so sorry. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Royce Hunt Bell. I am the founder, owner, and operator of Roycycled Treasures. Here at Roycycled, we empower creation through creative craft supplies, inspiration. Um, you know what happened? My brain just said, don't forget that word. And of course, I forgot it because, encouragement and instruction. And so you are welcomed here. You don't, and whether you're creating for your heart, your home, or even for your business, you're welcome here. So welcome, welcome to Roycycled. We are meeting every Monday, and we're doing mixed media Mondays. And we are playing a game where you have to pull random prompts and you have to follow them. And so this is a way for us to challenge ourselves to operate outside of our norms because that is where we grow creatively. So I am certainly outside of what's normal for me with these bright colors. They're beautiful though, but anybody who's known me for any amount of time knows if I would have just gotten underpainting without any further instruction, I would have just done something grungy underneath. But the game challenged me to use bright colors. So here we are, bright colors. I did find a smaller brush. And I'm hoping that you guys, I'm going to put the QR code up from the game in just a second. And you guys can download the game. And when we meet here on Monday mornings, you guys can play with me. And you don't need anything fancy. This is just a book from the thrift store um, that I'm working in. Nothing in here is precious. It's all just experimentation. So this is our mad laboratory here. And we're just mixing and matching and seeing what happens. And then whatever you learn in your laboratory, you can certainly take it and apply it to your other projects that you make. And if by chance you make something that you absolutely love, just scan it and then it's yours to keep. Hey, Kay, how are you doing this morning? Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Is it Brenda or Winnie? No. And you guys, I've been seeing your posts lately. I see you. And you guys are making me want to recreate another recycled catalog. I was looking at the designs on there. I've made a lot of designs since I made that catalog. So we could make a second catalog, and there will be plenty of new designs to put on there. And so my challenge on my first stick was to use a colorful underpainting. So that's what we started with. And I decoupaged the paper over it. And because it's white, we took full advantage of the transparency of the paper. And so now the color is showing through the paper, and I'm painting back all the empty spaces so that the flowers just look like they're painted. And so that's about all the carving I have time. I don't want to do this the whole time we're together. But I just wanted to show you guys the power of that, right? So by painting all that white, look at now, these stand out. And like even if I wanted to paint these like this, like would I have been able to get this effect, right? It's a completely different effect I was able to get. And it's actually the underpainting that's coloring the flowers, not anything that I've done over the top of the paper. So super fun to do this. And if you guys took what was the name of our last class? Somebody help me because my brain just left because Elizabeth, she taught a class on reverse painting. I believe you guys made a butterfly. Um, but you can take that same premise and you can absolutely use it with your paintable decoupage papers. I just wanted to carve those out a little bit more because they're smaller, so it takes a little bit more. Oh, look at how pretty that is. It makes me want to just carve out everything, but I'm going to try to stop. You guys know that it's so hard for me to stop when I know something isn't done, but I'm telling myself I should stop so that we can move on to the next part. Okay, so I'm going to dry this really quickly and then we're going to move on. And the next part, and I kept the butterfly. Do you guys see that? The butterfly is still there. She's good. I didn't have to carve her out. I mean, I didn't have to paint over her. I probably need to because she's a little big and heavy, but I hear you guys. I'm gonna leave her there. My next part of my challenge, or the next one we wanted to look at, was to use a transfer. It says use a paintable transfer. So I've already pulled out just this little bit because the paintable transfers that I have here on hand are really large and they're just too big. And anything, I don't want my piece to just I wouldn't even have a space to put a huge flower. So I picked out a really small piece of the transfer and I want to make sure my surface is dry. You guys know that one of the challenges of putting transfers on, or the challenges I see people have, is that they're trying to put a transfer on a surface that's still damp. So I want to make sure that this is completely dry before I try to apply that transfer. Thank you, Chris. Yes, the Crafted to Create Summit. Thank you, Karen. You guys did some reverse painting with Liza. She did a beautiful job. The ladies did such a beautiful job teaching in that summit. I really enjoyed that. Um, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. It was a lot of work without my assistant being with me, but I did it. We can do hard things, right? Okay, so I'm gonna apply this piece of transfer, and I think I don't want to go over my little fly. You guys see him right there? I like him. I don't want to cover him up. So I'm going to trim this back just a wee bit more because these are just random leaves. It's not like they're like substantial. Oh, but these aren't going to have any color, are they? So I'll have to paint these. It'll be fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. And even when it isn't, it's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this little piece of paintable transfer. I am still, you know, within the challenge. You guys should see me trying to anticipate like what I'm going to do. I'm like, if I just do kind of a plan, then then I can just use my sticks and I can just stick to that plan. But then you pick up one of your sticks and they just blow your plan out the water. And now I have to be super nimble on my feet. Okie dokie. So I do have a piece of paintable transfer on here. I'm going to review my other ones. I have DIY tape and mark making and collage. So the rest of this is going to be pretty easy as far as whatever I have to do. I just have to make sure, I just want to take a moment to look at it to see if there's something that I want to do. I hate that I had to put that there. Let me try to make it a little bit more, I don't know. Maybe if I add some yellow, it'll look like it belongs. And I'm just mixing my yellow with a little water to thin it out a little bit, and my orange. And you guys, I'm working with transparent colors. So they're not going to get cloudy when I mix them with water. Or I could mix them with a top coat too, and that would work. I kind of want it to sit on this the same way it's set on the bottom. I mean, you know, the paper. So I don't want it to be like perfect. So I'm going to apply it and then I'm going to mist it. And if the paint moves, I'll just carve around it. And maybe it'll look more like it belongs. You know what I'm saying, Vern? And let's put a little bit more orange on there. So make it perfectly imperfect. And let's try that and see if we can get something that feels, I don't know, kind of like that. And we can integrate a little bit better. Now this is a transfer, right? So I can't put a ton of heat on there. Just a little bit. So I'm going to keep this moving, moving. Oh, I'm sorry, Flea. You Californians don't know what to do when it rains. In Southern California, anyways. Kind of like us. My book page is curled up, so a lot of my water kind of ran away there. But I do like the look of that, so I'm going to try it again. And another thing is the line is different on this one, right? So that makes it a little different than the rest of what's here. I'm going to show you guys because this is an opportunity for us to have a conversation about line and its important in design. So you guys will notice that the line work in this flower is like really wispy and light, right? And even the butterfly, even though it's different, there is still a lot of similarity in like the weight of the lines and how they are. But this one is completely different. It's like solid and heavy. So the reason why this is sticking out too is not just because of the color, but also because the line work is completely different. So and I'm not saying that that's good or bad. It's just something to think about when you're putting pieces together. Sometimes when you put things together, you know that something is not right, but maybe you don't know exactly what it is. And so you guys already know that I'm all about teaching like the basic premises of art, and line is one of those things. And not just line as far as how you put things together, but the actual line work in the artwork. And so sometimes when you're putting together pieces and the line work is completely different, it could make it a little more complicated to integrate it. Not complicated, just a little harder. So I'm going to go and paint around this one like I did the other ones, and maybe even cheat and try to go into the flower a little bit to make the lines a little less obvious and see if that helps us. Although technically, well, this flower is in the front, but we're going to try to make it a little bit more of lighter weight than it is. And maybe that will help us integrate it a little better. And one of the things I talk about, specifically inside the Roycycled Besties membership, is I'll have people say to me, Royce, I'm not interested in learning how to do like art, or I'm not interested in learning how to do art. And I get it. Not everybody's going to be, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is understanding the basic elements of art, because we're creating every day, you guys. We're painting. So understanding how color work is going to help you be able to mix your own colors, right? Mixing your own colors equips you to be able to blend your decoupage paper better. That's just an example of how understanding the elements of art can really serve you regardless of what kind of creating that you're doing. And so understanding composition, you know, when you're laying down your transfers and your decoupage paper, how can you lay it out so that it'll look nice? I mean, if it looks nice to you, it's right. But sometimes when we're looking at our work and we're like, something is off, but I can't quite put my finger on it. But the more you understand the elements of art, the better equipped you are to figure out why it's bothering you. Because the elements of art are not arbitrary, they're actually based on how our brains work. So something being off is probably something that you could fix if you understood exactly what that thing was. If I wasn't here with you guys, I probably just have one piece of tissue up this nostril right here. Um, yeah, right. It's just more tools that you have to play with and to understand things. And so I'm not saying it's perfect, but I don't know. It looks a little lighter. At least the flower does. The leaf is a little hard because the line work is on the inside of the leaf. That's enough. I'm not. That's all I'm going to do with that. And then I have collage and mark making and tape. So I want to figure out what kind of mark making would be really cool on this. I think just because I had to like mark out all of the script, that some writing would be fun on here. Let me see if I can find. I'm going to go over this with my dryer again and make sure it's really dry. And I do have, oh yeah, this is my Stabilo All. This will work. And I'm going to write with this. I do like working with the Stabilo because you can soften it by misting it a little bit with water. Let's dry this really well, because otherwise my paint will just kind of scoop up with my pen. Know what I mean? And I really want to be able to write on top of this. Another thing that I could do, what time is it? It's already, we've been on an hour. Let me see if I have some. If you get, sometimes when you're working with mixed media, you guys know how you get to a point where your surface just won't accept anything else. You try to put more paint or you try to put more something else on there, and it just kind of sits on the top. Like it doesn't, it won't absorb anymore. And when that happens, what you can do is you can go over your project with gesso. I'm looking for some clear gesso because I know I have some. I just don't know if I have any out here. And I may not have any. Dang it. I'm going to have to like bring some clear gesso out here and leave it. Oh, I was looking for that little container. You guys should see. You guys don't tell George that my space is a mess again. But I've been going live so much that I just have stuff everywhere. Oh, you know what? I have this pulled out for my membership. So I have some, ooh, I have some Posca markers here. That might be some fun mark making. Yellow, red, and then that way I won't have to worry about using the clear gesso. I just don't know if my Portobello all is going to write on here the way that I want it to. Let's see. Oh, maybe it will. And I don't have to worry about it. Of course, this is water soluble. So if I get it wet, it's going to move around. And I'm just doing like some imaginary writing. It doesn't mean anything. In my heart it does, but it doesn't mean anything on paper. And I could, I don't think I want to though. Do I want to? What if, what time is it? We're out of time. I never have enough time. I want to offer you guys some other options just in case you're here and you're pulling sticks and you get to this point in your project. So you could leave it just like this, right? And you could be done. Or you could actually use this color as an underpainting and you could go over the top of it, especially if you're using like a transparent color over the top or more of an opaque color, I guess. It would work better. So let's mix that with a little bit of that opaque white. And if you have a transparent color, you can always make it opaque by mixing it with opaque white. But if you have an opaque color, it's really harder to make it more transparent. I don't want it to be completely opaque though, because I want to hold on to all that line work underneath there. I think I'm going to ruin it if I try to paint that. But just because I don't have the right brush, I need a script brush. I could go over this. Let me see. Let's try some transparent orange. That orange, the blue is going to neutralize this orange a little bit. But just because you have something underneath doesn't mean that you cannot. I'll just do these two little circles instead of trying to do the whole butterfly. You can still paint over the top. And if I had clear gesso on here, it would sit on the paper differently. You guys know how, see how it's kind of sitting on top of the paper? If I had clear gesso, it would give me more tooth on my surface and that paint would rest on there completely different. So just because you use transparent paper and there's color underneath doesn't negate the opportunity for you to paint over the top. You would just have an underpainting underneath there, that's all. Which an underpainting can make something look more interesting. And we'll play with that another day. Oh, I should have done like a bright pink under here. And then we could have painted all of our flowers on top of that pink. That is gorgeous. Like a hot pink. And I know you think I'm crazy, but it's beautiful. Clear gesso and matte medium. That's true. A matte medium probably would have helped me too to be able to mattify my surface so that the paint would sit a little better. Because right now my surface is really slick. And so that's why it's, especially because we use gloss, decoupage medium. And I do have matte medium too. I could have used that. And this is the paintable paper, so I don't have to worry about it curling up as much as I would if it were a transfer. But just because you have a color coming up underneath your paper doesn't negate the opportunity to paint. That's what I wanted to show you guys. So you could still paint this out if you want it, using the same premise we do with our paintable paper, which is you can use transparent colors, and that way you don't lose all of the shading and everything that's under there under your paper. And so mark making, I'm going to finish my love letter. Okay. That's it. And so, oh, my tape. Oh, I should have pulled 3. Okay. So my last stick was DIY. Where'd it go? Was a DIY tape is what it said. And I pulled this last week too, didn't I? So mark making, I just did some pretend writing on here. Um, so that's my mark making. And mark making can be anything, you guys. I could have put stars, I could have put dots, I could have put lines, whatever my heart wanted to do. I could have taken my little roller that I did pull out today and I could have rolled on some color. That would have been mark making. Mark making is literally anything that you do to put a mark on your paper. And generally speaking, mixed media artists will take a mark and they will use it over and over again to give it more impact. And those of you who are in my membership, you guys know when we did mark making with our gel plate, that's why I love making it on the transparent tissue paper, especially if you're wanting to repeat a mark over and over again, because it makes it easier. You can just tear off that tissue and then you could just collage it right over your project. Good morning, LaDonna. How are you this morning? And so mark making was my collage element. I did that. I guess maybe collage. Was I supposed to do something with mark making? I do have some tissue with marks. I think I might do that. Okay. And then my DIY was my other one. Let's do that. This is what I'm going to do. Because technically, okay, so this says mark making, but the top does say collage, not like writing. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that off of there. Let's see what happens. And I know that there's no test, but if I'm going to ask you guys to be true to the challenge, then I too should be true to the challenge, right? So I'm going to paint over this really quickly so that I can go get a piece of collage tissue and put some marks on here. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. It's right over there. Actually, do I want to use this? I'm going to use what I have pulled out. I was thinking more about a repeating mark to show you guys, but it's okay. To my point, mark making could be any mark. And so this is just a piece of deli paper. And when we were doing the gel plate inside of the recycled membership, this was just my roll-off sheet. So this was just the sheet I was cleaning my brayer on. But these are often my favorite pieces because look at that nice cloudy black color that I have. And so I'm going to add this for my mark making. And even though it's not technically like a stripe or a dot, it's still a mark and it still counts. And since I'm going to be using that, I might as well go ahead and add a piece of grungy tape on here too. But let me fix this white really quickly because that's bothering me. I don't want that like that. Even though I'm going to make it grungy, I want it to look intentionally, not like mistakenly grungy. Oh, praise Jesus. I'm going to use my makeup brush here. I have makeup brushes in my brush stash, and I use them whenever I want to put down like a really smooth layer of paint. And you guys, I learned this from watching the girlies who do the banners. Have you guys seen those? They take a big roll of like butcher paper and they make banners for people. And a lot of them, in order to get really smooth lines, they use makeup brushes instead of regular paint brushes. And you can find these at Dollar Tree too, which is the other thing. But these do not tolerate soaking in the jar. Like you have to be nice to them or they'll get hard and they won't work for you anymore. Ask me how I know. And so again, this is the paint I used earlier, which is not as opaque as the golden. And so I'll do a couple of layers. And I don't mind if it shows underneath a little bit. It's just part of the layers that make the piece feel like it's not one-dimensional, right? Let me wipe some of that paint off and see if I can swirl it. Okay. And I'm going to rinse this right away and try to get as much paint out as possible. And I'm going to pull that out right away. Now I'll clean this better later, but I cannot leave this brush soaking in the jar because it is not, they do not tolerate it at all. So I've gotten a lot of the paint out and I'm drying that out and then I'll wash it really good later. So I'm going to dry this really quickly and then we'll collage some of my marks on there and then some of my DIY tape and then my project will be done. And again, our focus when we're meeting here on Mixed Media Mondays is not about perfection. It's about experimentation and seeing what works. Obviously, we're all motivated to make something beautiful, but I don't want you to feel tight and restricted because you're trying to make something perfect. I want you to enjoy kind of the process and just the learning. So I'm going to put the the QR code. When you talk about transparent paint, do you mean watered down paint? So Linda, if you're buying paint, like acrylic paint, it'll tell you, there'll be an indicator here. See this box? Can you see that? The box is empty. And so that means that this is transparent. And they also put a swatch there. So this is a see-through color. If it's an opaque color, it's going to have, I don't even know if I have I don't know what I did with that tube of opaque white that I just had. I think this color is opaque. It is. If it's an opaque color, then that square is going to be filled in. See how it's black? That tells me that you cannot see through this color. So you can water down your paint to make it transparent, but this is the thing. You see how clear these colors are? These are colors that are already transparent, and I put it on here. This color here, it still looks fine, but you see how it's kind of hazy? So this one is like crystal clear. This one is hazy. So the pigments in here are just not transparent, and you can water them down, which basically what you're doing is you're dispersing them and having more space between them so that you can see through them. But the pigments themselves are not transparent. So yes, you can water down regular paint to make it more transparent. And you can use water, you can use your clear coat, but you can find paint that is actually transparent already. And watercolor is also transparent. So if you're buying, and I'm telling everybody this just because it's cost effective, if you're buying the paintable papers and you're wanting to experiment, get yourself a watercolor palette because you can get 40 colors for less than $30 and it will last you forever. And you get all those colors to be able to play with your transparent papers. And so I do have a Meeden watercolor palette in my Amazon shop, and I can share that with you guys in a little bit if you want. And let me give you guys the Mixed Media Mix-Up game. This is a QR code to the game, and you guys can print it out and make your own popsicle sticks if you want. That way you guys can meet me here on Monday morning and we can, treat this like a co-working space where we're creating together, kind of carving out space for ourselves to sit down and be creative at least once a week. Right? You don't have to do that, but I want you guys to know that you absolutely can. If you're not able to join me live, that's fine. Maybe you can sit down and you can have me on in the background while you're working on your project. And so the Mixed Media Mashup, it's going to come to you like this. There are 2 pages. And at the top are the categories. And then you put your category at the top of your stick. And then your challenge goes on the bottom. So you're just putting one challenge on each stick. And so today, the 4 that I picked, which by the way, completely like derailed my plans for today. I tried to make plans. The first one was underpainting, and it was paint bright colors. That was the first derailment, was that one. And then the second one was transfers, use paintable transfers. So I had to find a piece of paintable transfer to add to my piece. And then the last two we're working on now is collage and mark making. So I'm going to collage a piece of tissue that I made on a gel plate to use for my mark making, and then DIY tape. And so I have some tape here that I used at the last year's Recycled Retreat. We had 50 gel plates and they were all dirty. And so we cleaned a lot of them using packing tape. So I have these gorgeous pieces of packing tape that I can use, and I'm going to use it on my piece today because it came up on my mashup. So if you would like to join me, and these are tongue suppressors, these are 8-inch ones. They're also in my Amazon shop. But I think the Dollar Tree has some 6-inch ones and they should work just fine. So I have this piece that I've torn off, and I think that I am going to put one piece like right here, and I'm going to put another piece over here just so things are balanced. And I'm going to go ahead and use my gel medium to collage these on. And you know what? Let me go ahead and do my tape now too. Let's see. That isn't really black. That's like a pink. Interesting. We didn't have any black at the retreat. The ladies were ready to choke me out. They had to mix their own colors, including their own black. So, so none of these, they look black, but they're really not. They're just really dark. And honestly, even things that you think are black, a lot of them are not. If you take a magic marker and you like mark it on something plastic and then you go over it with the white paint, you're probably going to find out that it's actually like purple or blue. It's not black. And you can desaturate it to find out. So I'm just going to take a little piece of this tape. I feel like it should go right here, huh? And I'm going to put it right over here. Just a little bit of grunge there. And I'm a dork about things. I have to balance it out or it just doesn't feel good to me. And with my tape, instead of cutting pieces off and using them like with their square edge, I like to snip it and then tear it so that I get something that's fairly organic, you know. And then I'm going to put that little piece right there. So I have this piece and I have that piece. And I still have lots of my gel plate tape that I can use on another day. And oh man, did I pick up my, Lord have mercy for Jesus. I picked up my stuff. Another tape that you can make is just take some regular tape and you can put it on a mat like that and then use some alcohol ink to make you like tape that looks old. Now the reason why I wouldn't put my tape down first is because I'm going to use gel medium to attach these pieces, and also to, and this is just a matte medium. It's going to help me also cover up the shine of that tape. That's why I wanted to use it. And I want this paper to disappear as much as possible. It's not as transparent as, say, like a wet string tissue would be more transparent. You're still going to be able to see this a little bit, but it gets pretty transparent though, especially if you missed it first. And then you're left primarily just with the mark that's on the paper. So this is my mark making that I'm doing. I feel like that needs to come down a little bit. And the cool thing about using collage paper is that you can kind of try things out, right? I can lay it there. I can look at it. Do I like it? Don't I like it? Maybe, before I commit to actually laying it down. Whereas if I were just making the marks directly on my project, like once I make the mark, that's it. I'm committed. And I apologize for my sniffling. I'm just having problems over here. And let me get back to my comments so I can make sure I'm not missing anything. I hope you guys are enjoying this. And legitimately, I'm not saying I'm going to come to you Monday and I'm going to have everything figured out and I'm going to teach you this stuff like really streamlined. That's not what we're doing here. I am legitimately coming and I'm pulling these sticks out of my cup with you guys. And so I am just as challenged as you're going to be when you participate in the mixed media mashup challenge. And so we really are pushing ourselves outside of what we would normally do. Although I still made my way back to grunge. You guys noticed that, right? But I had to start out with bright colors, and you guys know that that is not generally my starting point. So that was probably the thing that pushed me the furthest out of my comfort zone this morning, was having to do my underpainting in these bright colors. But I had already chosen which decoupage paper I really wanted to work with. So luckily it was a paintable one because we were able to make the paper super transparent. So the colors that you see on the flowers are from underneath, not from painting over top. So this is what we did today. I used a piece of plastic, I mixed it with water, and I laid it down, and that's how we colored our background. And then I used a piece of the recycled paintable botanical paper. We misted it first, and then we adhered it and sealed it using a gloss medium so that we could make it as transparent as possible because we really wanted to take advantage of those colors that were on the backside. And then I went in with white paint and I painted around it. So we painted out all the other details that were around it so that the flowers stood out and that those colors could really come forward. My next challenge was to use a paintable transfer. I kind of cheated. I put a little bitty transfer right there, but the transfers I have are huge in scale and there really wasn't anything appropriate. And also the line work on this flower is a lot different from the line work on the rest of it. So I didn't want to use a ton of that. My next challenge was mark making and it was under collage. So I used a piece of collage paper that I had in my stash from my jelly prints to do my mark making. And then DIY tape was my next challenge. And so I used pieces of tape from last year's retreat. And it's just packing tape that I used to clean the gel plates because everyone had their own gel plate. So that was a lot of cleaning to be done, let me tell you. Um, And now I'm just really wanting to go over my tape with this matte medium so that the tape isn't shiny. I don't want this shine to give away the fact that it is indeed tape. And that's it for today's project. I hope you guys, right? So much fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this morning's project. This is our first Mixed Media Monday. If you guys have like suggestions, or if you guys get your mixed media game and maybe you see some things that aren't included on there that you would like to see on there, I do anticipate us probably quarterly, maybe either switching things up on the game or adding another page to the game so that we can continue to push ourselves and grow more and more and more. Then absolutely message me and let me know that. I would love to hear your thoughts. And I think that's all I have for today. Oh, my message. Let me dry this. And we're going to put a message on here first. Then we're going to leave. It's 11:32. Lord have mercy for Jesus. I did a lot of explaining today, though, as far as what we're doing. So I feel like, I went a little bit over, but it's going to be fine. Oh, thank you, Chris. You're so sweet. Flea, did I hear you say you had a staff meeting on a holiday? What is up with that? And if I miss your comments, I'm sorry, but I'm here by myself. I don't have my moderator. He's at work. Oh, good, Sylvia. And again, I'll put the link up again for the game at the end of the video, or you can just replay and you'll see the QR code. I'll also put a link on the Recycle Treasures Facebook page. If you're not on Facebook and you're only on YouTube, I'll drop a link in the community section of my channel, and you guys can find the link there so you can download your game. And you guys have a week until we meet again. So the next time we sit down together, theoretically, you could have your sticks all made and you guys can play with me. I think that would be fun. So I have this tape. I think it's I don't know who it is. Don't make me lie to you. I think it's Tim Holtz, but I'm not sure. Let's see. One of them had like words on it. Limits dreams. This one I think is the one. Did I grab the wrong one? Ooh, this one's kind of cool. It has numbers. Okay. Friendship, heartfelt friendship memories. Let's see what we get. If I can find the end of the tape. Okay. Heartfelt friendship, happy together. Let's try. I think I'm just going to put heartfelt friendships on here. I'm going to put this on my mat with my other tapes, the ones that I don't use. And I am just going to put heartfelt friendship right here. And then let's see, what does this one say? I have to use imagination just because that's what we're doing. But I'm going to put these in a different order because, you know, why would I just lay the tape? That would be too simple, right? Heartfelt friendship, love, imagination. There we go. And that is my project for real this time. That's my project for the day. And I'll take a picture and post it later. I know I wanted to have you guys close, but it's kind of, I don't like, usually when I look on the screen, I can see what I'm doing, but it's interesting. I think it's because it's a spread. I actually get a better sense just looking at it here in person, but I'll take a picture and post it later. Thank you guys so much. Oh, I see. So Flea, you normally won't be able to join us live. I'm sorry. Um, Thank you guys so much for joining me for my madness. So again, our Mixed Media Mondays is going to be at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every Monday. So I will be here next Monday. Let me put the QR code back up one more time for the game. I'll also put this link on the Recycle Treasures page. So you can use this QR code to find your own game so that you can make your sticks before next Monday, and maybe you guys can join in on the fun. And again, this is just an old book that I have started painting in. And if I do anything in this book that I love, that it's something that I can take and I can use somewhere else, right? So like this spread, I love it so much. I love the way the colors came together. So you guys will probably see this in another project, right? Because I know that it's going to work because I practiced already. So thank you so much. You guys have a blessed week. Remember, you guys, where experimentation goes, creativity follows. Please, please, please make time in your days to experiment, to have fun, and just see what happens because that's where we grow creatively. You guys have a blessed week, and we will see you on Sunday.